burn. A thirst and desire, you transform out of pit of flesh. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and
All right. Welcome back to my channel, y'all. If you are new, my name is Sasha. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, my loyal royals. So good to see you. If you are new to the family, welcome to the family, my new loyal royals. So good to finally meet you. Please make sure you do hit the subscribe button. I am on the road to 300 subscribers. Please make sure you leave this video a like. Please share it with a friend, as it probably can help someone out, especially if they travel frequently or if they travel for the first time. You never know, even the most seasoned traveler can still use an update. Please make sure that you go follow me on Twitter at DragonPink07. Again, please subscribe, leave this video a like, leave me some comments down below. Do you agree with some of the comments that's going to be left in this video? If you do, just go ahead and respond to them down below. Leave your own comments. I know I haven't even said what the video is yet, but hey, you'll see once you get to it. But anyway, so if you have not seen it already, there is a part 1 to this video. That part 1 is pretty much aviation and flying etiquette, and it's from my perspective, the perspective of someone that works for an airline. Please go check out part 1, because part 1 does lead right here into part 2. As this part 2 is the same thing. It's aviation and flying etiquette, but it's from the perspective of my passengers. So before I even get started with any of this, quick shout out to all of my passengers on my Nashville flight that gave all these suggestions and hints for people to kind of like get an update on the rules, regulations, and if you're a first-time flyer, the advice that they gave for you. So thank you so much to my Nashville passengers. If you do get to see this, please know that I do highly appreciate all of you, and you guys were so wonderful to work with. So with the shout out being done, let's get into their suggestions. So this is going to be Aviation and Flying Etiquette 101, Part 2, from the passenger perspective. So the first suggestion that my passengers gave was, don't recline your seat. This one is actually interesting because I have to agree with them on this one. Don't recline your seat if you can help it, because believe it or not, it actually makes it highly uncomfortable for the person in front of you, especially if there is not a lot of leg room, because what happens is your knees will dig into our lower back or pretty much just knee us in the butt, and it really hurts. And there's only but so much movement we can do that will keep us from being uncomfortable for so long. So when you recline your seat and you lean forward, all it does is it pushes your knees right into the back of the seat, and that actually does hurt quite frequently, a lot. So if you can help it, please don't recline your seat. The next one, the center seat gets the armrest. Believe it or not, this is an actual thing. If you sit in the center seat, apparently you are allotted to both armrests. Whoever's in the window is allotted to the armrest of the window seat. Whoever is in the aisle is allotted to the aisle seat's armrest. But if you are in the middle, apparently you're allowed both. Believe it or not, that's a thing. Bring an empty water bottle. This is actually a really good one, because water gets very expensive in airports. They, believe it or not, there are people that go through airports and they complain about how water is like $4 and $5. What do you expect? What do you expect? Bring an empty water bottle. You can bring the empty bottle through TSA, and you can refill your water bottle as many times as you need to. The only time I would say purchase water is when you're in select countries where it's better to have bottled water than to run the risk of drinking tap water. But other than that, bring a water bottle with you so that way you can refill your water bottle as many times as you need to at the water refill stations. Don't clap when the plane lands. Don't clap when the plane lands. I don't really go with this one. I do find it a little strange that people clap when the plane lands, but the passengers suggested not to clap when it lands. I don't bother doing that unless it's one of those, we've been through some intense turbulence and I'm just very happy to get on the ground safely. But Most passengers don't like that at all, so please don't clap when the plane lands. I mean, if you still want to do it, that's on you. But majority of people would rather say don't clap when it lands. Next up, download Netflix at home or any other media for watching movies. I would say I agree with this one because I will let you know now, majority of the time on a lot of our airplanes, Wi-Fi don't work. Wi-Fi does not work. So when you're ready to watch a movie or a TV show and the Wi-Fi is sketchy or it don't work, then you just out of luck. You better just bring a book or just find a way to make yourself go to sleep, depending on how long the flight is. If you're on a short flight, like from Baltimore to Norfolk, that flight's literally only 30 minutes. You don't need anything except to stare at the seat in front of you because you're going to be up in the air for less than a few seconds and then back down before you know it. But download Netflix at home or any other media for watching movies. That way you already have it. Or if you choose to, you can attempt to connect to the airport Wi-Fi and you can actually download it that way. But it's highly suggested from a passenger perspective, do it at home. That way you already have it. This is a nice one. Dress in layers. Dress in layers. I will tell you this for a fact. The airports are frigid. They are freezing cold. They are meant to be that way because of all the computers in the airport and the other pieces of technology that have to stay at a certain temperature. And if you come through that airport and you know you're going to Cancun or you're going to Orlando or Jamaica, wherever you're going, walking through the airport and getting on the airplane with t-shirts, shorts, and the flip-flops on is not going to help you out, especially when the temperature inside the airport and the airplane is about 60 to 70 degrees. You can't complain about the fact that it's cold because of how you're dressed. Dress in layers because you can take off more layers if it's cold versus actually, having nothing that you can take off when it's super hot. So please dress in layers. Again, that will save you a lot of issues when it comes to being cold in an airport or an airplane. I will actually tag something onto this when it comes to dressing in layers. Bring a blanket. Bring a blanket with you or bring a hoodie, because to tag on to it being freezing in the airport and on the airplane, what happens if you get stuck somewhere overnight? If you're stuck in an airport overnight, a lot of airports are very cold. I mentioned this earlier on with this point that the passengers made. It gets very cold, especially when there's no one there, because the more people you have in the area, the more body heat you're gonna have. So when it comes down to there being no one and you're stuck, having a blanket will greatly help you, because at least that way you have something to cover yourself with and therefore protect you from the cooler air. And if you want to as well, put it on the airplane. Cover yourself in the blanket on the airplane. Just wrap it up like wrap it up like you wrap a burrito. Wrap yourself like a burrito. But dress in layers, because that will definitely help you out in the end. And then just when you get to where you're going, especially if it's hot, just start taking the layers off. Take the hoodie off, take the excess sweater off, take the coat off, whatever. This one, be on time. I mentioned this in part 1 of my video, to arrive up to 3 hours early before your flight. Be on time, because if you are not on time, you have a higher chance of missing your flight. Now, there is an exception to this. The people that come in from connecting cities, if your flight is late, or if you get down and your plane gets in early and then you have to sit and wait for your gate, that doesn't count. You are exempt from that because that is not your fault. But if you are coming in from somewhere else, such as a hotel, you're coming from home, or anywhere locally to the airport, you have no excuse. Be on time. Get up early. Have yourself some breakfast. But get up early. Get to the airport early. Get checked in. Get through TSA. And then sit and relax and wait for your flight to board. Be on time, because it is not the responsibility of the airline to call you at home or at your hotel and say, hey, by the way, your flight leaves at 6 a.m. It's 5:50. Where you at? Not gonna happen. Be on time. Oh, this one's my favorite. I'm glad my passengers agree with me on this one. Read your flight ticket details. Read your details on your ticket. People will walk up to us all the time and they will say, is this flight going to blah, blah, blah? Sure. It's cool to verify your flight. Yeah, it's cool to verify with the gate. However, asking us what time do you board? What time do they board? Read your ticket details. Your boarding time is on your ticket. Your departure time is on your ticket. Your destination is on your ticket. Your name is on your ticket. The only thing that will change on that ticket, especially if it's paper, is the time of departure. That depends on if it's running late. Other than that, if it's on time, that time will not change. The other thing that will change is the gate. On occasion, if we got to change the gate will change and the time may change. But other than that, nothing else on that ticket will change. Thoroughly read your details. If you board a flight and you board with the wrong ticket because you didn't pay attention to the ticket name, then you're running the risk of having us make the flight late because we got to verify who's who on the airplane, all because you had the wrong ticket. Verify your ticket details. And then, as another passenger had suggested from my flight, not only with verifying your ticket details, understand the difference between the boarding time and the departure time. I get so many people that run up to me and say, "Oh my gosh, you're boarding so early. The flight doesn't leave until 8:30. Well, what time is it now? It's 8:20. Exactly. It leaves at 8:30. Boarding time is not departure time. All of our flights board 30 minutes prior to departure. If you are not there with boarding, don't get mad at us when you come running up late and you got the first part of the boarding cards and yet you're the last one to board. That's not my fault or the rest of our faults that you didn't pay attention. Read your ticket details and pay close attention to them. I know majority of people, if not everyone, is capable of reading. Please make sure you pay attention. If you are unsure of how to read your ticket, you can always go and ask an airline representative. We are glad to help you with reading your ticket and making sure you understand all your details. But if you choose not to pay attention to those details, that has nothing to do with us. Next up, be patient. I mentioned something similar in my last video with this one, but be patient. I say this because so much happens at the airport, and if you lose your cool just like that because something doesn't go your way, all you're doing is making it harder for us, because at that point, you are becoming a fire starter for unnecessary attention by other passengers, and all that does is trigger them to begin to act erratic too when there's no reason to do so. Just be patient. That's all you got to do. Be patient. If you have no patience, you don't need to be in the public, because it's not even just with flying that you need to have patience. Patience is a definite necessary virtue. If you don't know it, learn it. Be patient. I like this one. Respect your own comfort as much as others. Respect your own comfort as much as others. That speaks all on its own. Don't argue with the flight attendant crew. Do not argue with your flight attendant crew. They are legitimately there for your safety. They are trained to deal with almost any and everything that can occur up in the air at 30,000 feet. Don't argue with them. Most of y'all don't realize it, but doing things against your flight attendant crew and or flight crew is actually putting you at fault for being a flight risk. And there's a lot more paperwork that goes into that if you get reported to the Department of Transportation. Don't argue with your flight crew. If they tell you to do something, it's being told to you for a reason. Yes, there are times where you get told stuff that makes absolutely no sense, but for the most part, definitely just go by what they say and just go with it. If it's something you know don't make sense, then just kind of hold on to that and wait till you get on the ground, and then you can request to speak to a supervisor and say, hey, this happened on my flight, I don't agree with it, just could you talk to someone, blah, blah, blah. That's all you got to do. Don't argue back. Just say okay and keep it moving. Unless, like I said, it's one of those things that really just doesn't make any sense. Hang on to it or write it down and then just go and report it to a supervisor if it's one of those that it just really makes you uncomfortable. That's all you got to do. Don't go throwing it all over social media, because believe it or not, social media is not your best friend when it comes to things that you're not comfortable with. What you may think you're going to get support from the internet for, you'll find that people will throw that right back at you. Do not go posting on social media. Just hold on to it. If it's something, again, that makes you uncomfortable, and just report it. But most of the time, the flight attendant crew is not going to do anything that's going to offend you unless you're one that you get offended by every single little thing. In that case, I don't know what to tell you. But just don't argue with your flight attendant crew, please. Oh dear. Don't poop your pants. Don't poop your pants. That is self-explanatory. I'm not going into that one. If you don't get what I mean by that, I don't know what to tell you. Just don't poop your pants, people. Okay? If you are in the last group to board, just take the first available seat. This is something we highly tell people all the time because we board in groups A, B, and C. If you are in the C group and you are one of the last people on the airplane, just take the first seat that you see. Take the first seat, because I promise you, walking to the back of the airplane to walk to the middle and back up is going to do nothing but waste time, especially if it's a completely full flight. If it's a completely full flight, just sit down in the first seat that you see and be ready to go. Unless you have overhead luggage that you got to stow in the overhead bins, then find a spot as fast as you can and then just take a seat. That's it. Take a seat. Because at that point, all you're doing is walking back and forth like a runway model walking up and down the runway, and we ain't got time for all that. When you were the last to board, just take the first available seat, whether it be the last. Most of the time, it's going to be a middle seat, but on occasion, you may get lucky and find an aisle seat. But the flight attendants will highly encourage everyone just to take your seats as quickly as you can, because especially with us, we board literally just in groups. There's no assigned seating, so you already know who I'm talking about. There's no assigned seating. Just take yourself a seat, pick your seat, and that's it. And lastly, according to my passengers, y'all, fly Southwest. Come on, fly Southwest, y'all. Definitely fly Southwest. But that is all the suggestions I have from my passengers. I do highly appreciate all of them on my Nashville flight that gave all of these awesome suggestions and tips. Please leave comments down below, y'all. Leave some comments down below. Do you have anything to tag on to what my passengers said? Do you have anything that you would suggest to anyone else that's different from what they said, that either the passengers may not have said or I may not have said in the first video? Drop some comments down below. Help each other out. Help your fellow people out. Give some advice for those that fly for the first time. Give some advice for those that have not flown in a long time to know that the rules and regulations are different, and just how to pretty much have a good airport or a flying experience. So other than that, that's all it is to it, y'all. Please make sure you subscribe. Again, I am on the road to 300 subscribers. Share this video with your friends. Leave it a like. Leave some comments down below as well. Please go follow me on Twitter at DragonPink07. And I will see you all in my next video. Again, thanks so much to my passengers for my Nashville flight. You guys are highly appreciated with helping me for this video. Have a good day. Have a good night. See y'all in the next video. Bye.
Never say for I will fall into the